For them, any enemy, any warrior is target and he is to be assassinated, and it is not any question for them or any reason for them to avoid any kind of civilian casualties. But first time I have seen the war, because it was not my first trip to Lebanon. I was last year also on the 8th of October there, when actually war between the Gaza and Israel started. So I had the idea about what is happening and what is difference in this war. The main difference what I could observe on the ground was that there is difference in the Western armies, we can say mainly the Israeli army, and the other armies, including Pakistan army, Indian army, or any other army of the subcontinent or the Asian countries. Because the strategy when Israel attacks its enemies, or we can say any terror group or any fighter group, they did not differentiate between the civilians, between the media, between the health workers and their enemies. More than 41,000 people, civilians killed in the Gaza, more than 1 lakh injured, and also not only that, but more than 150 journalists had been killed only in Gaza. And not only in Gaza, but even in Lebanon, so far 12 journalists had been killed in the Israeli strikes. Luckily, I was in the Lebanon. I was the only Indian journalist, in fact, few from the world journalists when we were covering this war started after the pager blasts in Lebanon. The most tough 2-3 moments I have observed during my 15 days of war coverage in Lebanon. When I was in the south, Beirut, there were always regularly very less distances. These aerial strikes were carried out by the IDF. So it was very fair thing. And only the reason why I thought it was different was that only the IDF is not differentiating between civilians or the media or the health workers and the fighters. That is the big reason. So anyone covering the war, whether in any country which is fighting or which are in the conflict with Israel, the media persons are always in danger there and have always threat to be targeted by the Israel. And also one of the important thing, when last year I went there, I did a story when we were doing a ground report that from which pockets and which border areas Hamas and Hezbollah fighters have entered into the Israel. I was in the North Israel. I left. I did not know how Al Jazeera team got to know that India Today has done a story on the border where they have shown the gaps in those heavily built cement blocks. Just after half an hour, Al Jazeera Arabic TV crew came there with a girl. She was only 21 or 22. She was a reporter, her cameraman and their driver. That particular vehicle was in my front just half an hour after my coverage, was targeted by the IDF and all the 3 journalists. A girl reporter, a cameraman and their driver got killed when their car was targeted in a drone strike by a missile from Israel. Recording conflicts is not anything new for me. I have born in the area which is surrounded by the conflict since 90s, that is Kashmir. So I have covered so many encounters, so many bombings, so many terror attacks, so many suicide attacks in the Kashmir and in the different parts of Kashmir, even on the line of control. Then I have also covered all the conflicts in the South Asia, that may be the conflict with Pakistan, inside Pakistan, in the Pak-occupied Kashmir. It started in 2000, then I 8 or 9 times visited also Pakistan and particularly to the Pak-occupied Kashmir. Then the biggest challenge for me as a war reporter was Afghanistan, when Al-Qaeda was completely holding the Afghanistan and Osama bin Laden was active there in Tora Bora mountains. I even have covered those mountains before the bombing, US bombing and after the US bombing.
For more informative videos like this, keep watching India Today News Mo.